Okay, everyone. So we're going to get into um what took place. Okay, so there was a fact sheet that came out. Um, and let's see. I think we let's see, we want to um okay. Okay. I don't know what this means. Um, oh, this is funny. I don't mean to laugh. Sorry about this, but I got distracted. Uh, I guess yesterday he did an executive order called the Iron Dome for America. And I feel like I'm living in a twilight zone in this respect, only because they're quoting Ronald Reagan's speech. And for any of you, there's a speech called the infamous Star Wars speech. And it's one of the more, how can I say, uh joke, like people don't revere that to be one of the best speeches. But anyway, we're oh, and now they're doing fact sheets for this. I'm trying to pull out the okay, so here we are. The memorandum is here's the memorandum. And mm, okay. Um I just I'm getting really kind of annoyed with this whole. Okay, I'm gonna do it in a twofold. Okay. So before we get to no, I'm gonna get to the first one first. Here we are. Let's get here first. This came out this morning, actually, and I thought it was yesterday, but it's because I was awake at like 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. So I was already kind of getting alerts about this. And so I just assumed that it was on the 27th, but no, it was today. And it is to take effect at 5 p.m. So that would have been Eastern Standard Time. I'm on the West Coast. So here we are. So what the executive order is the Office of Management and Budget. Okay, so let me stop there and let's talk about what is the Office of Management and Budget. I gotta take you back to President Carter. President Carter was the president who wanted to be truly involved in the budget process. Before Carter, there were presidents who did engage a little bit when it comes to the budget, but the majority of presidents left the budget up to Congress. And I do think that this is a great time to have a question to pull up Article 1 of the Constitution. Um, Article 1 of the Constitution, we want to get the original text. Here we are. Article 1 of the Constitution, essentially Section 5, deals with what are the powers of Congress and the things that the here we go. The thing is okay. Okay. This is coming up, but whatever. Number one, it is to borrow money on credit of the United States. Um, it is to keep going down. Um, it is also to promote, what does this mean? Meetings to borrow money on the credit of the United States. This is bonds. So if you go and buy a bond, you used to have to go to the bank. You no longer, you can go online directly and buy it from the Treasury Department. But they also can borrow money from other governments. Historically, they borrowed money from very wealthy people such as Rockefeller, etc. Um, Morgan also. This is also a thing that's taking place too. Is mm, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. Of course, this is no. I wanted to point this out. I'm sorry. To promote the progress of science and useful arts by securing a limited time to authors and inventors the exclusive right to their prospective writings and discoveries. We have interpreted this, we've expanded this interpretation to where we fund um, libraries and NASA and university grants to do research. Um, a lot of the military uses university grants, uses the university for thought. Professors, for sure, professors tend to be on the forefront when it comes to doing research. uh, there's we have the Library of Congress. So museums, if I'm not mistaken. So there's a litany of programs that come under this. That's going to help us in a moment. You please remember that, because that's going to come back to us again. We also have this to make all powers necessary and proper. The necessary and proper clause expands the power of Congress. That's going to be really important in a few. Um, okay. Um, okay, let's see. We're going to, no, we got to go back up because the issue, um, is that they do create a budget. And I want to focus on what that would be. Um, we have the Congress shall lay and collect taxes, imposts, and excises to pay debt and provide for the common defense and welfare of the United States. Imposes and exercises shall be uniform throughout the United States, right? Okay, so they impose taxes and they provide for the common defense. And so we will see that Congress is involved, and we need to also look at this um, legislative process, because this is coming up quite a bit, a few in which the legislative process, the bills can originate in the House or the Senate, and it goes through that process. You really should just kind of go through through your, if you want to kind of go through your conjunction function to get a clear understanding. Um, okay, so we have where uh, Congress is to provide a budget, right? So they do the spending clause is how we originate where we come up with the budget. And so this necessary and proper, right? And then looking at the spending clause, which is how we first, that first sentence is the spending clause. This first sentence is taxes and spending. And you borrow to spend, and they pay to take care of the welfare of the United States. So Congress has been the sole person. President Carter created what we see as the Office of Management and Budget, which is it oversees in the budget, it is nonpartisan, it's supposed to be nonpartisan, and they they take the past, they read the budget that's proposed by the president, they read the budget that's proposed by Congress, and they do put out an analysis of what this will mean and trying to understand what this would mean. And then they also operate with, as you can see, they administer the federal budget. So they are an arm under the executive branch. I want to make that perfectly clear. I'm going to stop share for a second so you can see me bigger. They, OMB is under the executive branch. It is not under Congress. However, Congress funds it. This is a federal agency. And most of the people who work for OMB are civil servants. There's not as many political appointees in OMB as other agencies because the hope is that it's going to be as nonpartisan as possible. Why does this matter? Is because you want the people to trust that the government is utilizing the said allocated funds correctly. And with that being said, you absolutely can come here. Well, this is fascinating. I'm going to show you guys something for a second, and I've never seen this before. Okay, so typically you would click the website for OMB, but it now takes you to the White House. Huh. I I don't know what to think here. Um, hmm, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what to think. Um, Historically, the OMB, you know what, let me see if I can find it in someplace else. The Office of Management and Budget. Let's see if I can get to it from another place. You know, this is a problem. I'm gonna tell you why, because I actually provide assignments to give people a link to the budget. And I, okay, okay, I'm going to show you historically what this used to look like. So under Joe Biden, this is what it used to look like. You used to be able to get the actual budget. Hmm. Oh gosh. Mhm. And then if you see under Obama, Obama's is even easier because you used to be able to click on the president's budget. So I at the moment, you- I don't know. I don't know. Anyway, we're gonna bypass that. That's a whole nother problem. Let's look at what happened today. No, let's look at this is what happened today first. In implementing the President Trump's executive orders, OMB issued guidance requested that agency temporarily pause to the extent permitted by law, grant, loan, and federal financial assistance programs that are implicated by the president's executive order. Any program not implicated by the president order is not subject to pause. So these are the agencies that are supposed to be connected with other executive orders. So what they're saying here is that, sorry about this. Um, okay. What they're saying here is that he passed executive orders in the last week, and all of the executive orders that he passed, he is requesting that there's a pause to any monies that supports these that the that would have an attachment to the executive orders that he has already signed. So the executive orders is protecting the American people against invasion. And literally, these are the titles of the other executive orders: protecting the American people against invasion, reevaluating and realigning United States foreign aid. So, what does this mean? Okay, so essentially, he wants to pause all foreign aid. So, all aid that we give to any country in the world is paused. Protecting American people against invasion. This would be all money that is attached to any organization that evaluates either immigration, um, little things. Like, I'll give an example. Colleges offer, and high schools, and adult education programs, which is really, it's attached to the high schools, school, um, public schools, um, libraries. They all do things that, like citizenship classes. So the money from citizenship classes comes from the federal government. So that program would pause, for example. Um, but I'm just giving examples of this, right? Putting America first in international environmental agreements. This would be the Paris Agreement. This would be any type of environmental type agreement that we may have when it comes to air pollution. Anyway, unleashing American energy, thinking about air pollution, coal, um, any grants attached to the green space. So if it's coal, electric, building electric grids, he's, I don't know what he has against windmills, but windmill development, like all of these solar panels. Okay, ending radical and wasteful government DEI programs and preferencing. I don't know if you've watched my other DEI video and what critical race theory is, but DEI here has and has always been, it's not about the Blacks. It is all races that are underrepresented, locations such as rural communities. So I was explaining to a student today that we have programs that provide like busing programs, especially for people who live in rural communities who are struggling to be able to get to school. So they have special funding from the federal government that provides busing. That's a DEI program that's been canceled or put on pause. Things like food programs, and who really gets hurt the most is like places like that in the Appalachian area. Um, but there's a lot of places around the world. So it could be health programs, health clinics that are targeted for rural areas. That's a DEI program. If you, no, I was even mentioning, I have a affinity for golf because of my husband, and the fact that there's lower income, there's public, it's kind of public places for people to be able to play golf, and the amount that they pay is lower. And then they have all these other initiatives for helping to introduce golf to different groups of people. That would be under fire. Defending women from gender ideology, extremism, and restoring biological truth to the federal government. Title IX, Title IX funding, enforcing the Hyde Amendment. The Hyde Amendment has always been enforced. There is dollars going, no public dollars going to anything for abortion. This is just a talking point. The Hyde Amendment essentially says that no money from the federal government should ever go towards abortion. So this meant that states can only provide assistance for people who seek abortions or donors. So Planned Parenthood, they don't receive money from the federal government to cover anybody's abortion. Abortions are either you have to pay out of pocket, or you, depending, your state may help pay for it, or it's donors that help. But it's not public money from the federal government. But whatever. Um, any program that provides direct benefits to individuals is not subject to pause. So this means that your federal student aid is not affected. This means that your uh, Medicaid is not affected. This also means Medicare. Medicare is not a grant or loan program, but it would also mean that like your childcare is not affected. So the guidance establishes process for agencies to work with OMB to determine quickly whether any program is inconsistent with the president's executive orders. Mm. Um, okay. And a pause could be this is the kicker. The guidance established a process for agencies to work with OMB to determine quickly whether any program is inconsistent with the president's executive orders. A pause could be as short as a day. So there's no time limit on when this would end. It could be, and they literally are telling you it could be today, it could end tomorrow, it could end 2 years from now. Nobody knows. Any payment required by law to be paid will be paid without interruption or delay. Okay, so what they're saying is that anything that Congress has already allocated in the budget, the money is coming to you without interruption or delay. So then what is the pause? What is the pause if you're saying that if there's a payment that is supposed to be made, it will be paid? Right. Okay, so is this a freeze on federal financial assistance? And they're saying no, because it's not across the board, right? Um, but it is written for programs and activities such as DEI, the Green New Deal, governmental organizations. Now, I want you to now let me pause there and let's say a list of NGOs in the USA. Okay. Um, this is great. Um, okay. I'm going to tell you how many. There is 114,100. Oh, I'm sorry. 141,839 NGOs in the United States. NGO is a nonprofit. I mean, and this stuff is like food distribution, um, like food banks, from something as small as a food bank to something as big as like uh, your first what do you call America Red Cross. So I mean it can be something like St. Jude's Children's Hospital. I'm giving examples. World Wildlife Fund, your zoos, Human Rights Campaign, ACLU. Like, I mean, there's so many of them. So Is this a freeze on benefits like SNAP or student loans? And they're saying no, it is not. But they also said that funds for small businesses, farmers, Pell Grants, Head Start, rental assistance, and other similar programs will not be paused. If agencies are concerned that these programs may implicate the president's orders, they should consult OMB. Mhm. And they're supposed to do this all in a day. Like he issues it this morning by 5 p.m. They were supposed to unravel this to make sure that they're not going to get hit. Okay. Why is this pause necessary? To act as faithful stewards of taxpayers' money. Okay. And it's literally all of these executive amendments are things that are, really, really, um, not, are a bit much. So when we look at this enforcing the Hyde Amendment, which taxpayers do not pay for abortions, but so they continue to say that it's been violated. It has not been violated, but there is an Emergency Medical Treatment Act. It has now been repealed. And in order to make sure that if a person, a woman who is experiencing an emergency and may need additional assistance with this during their pregnancy, at this point, whatever you tell your doctor can be, it's not protected by HIPAA, right? Because it says I'm protecting personal health under HIPAA remain into effect. Yeah. Okay. They're recategorizing, they do not want abortion to be viewed as healthcare. They also want to end federal funding of abortion overseas. Mhm. How are we paying for other people's abortions? So, when you're looking to extend this policy to global health assistance, okay. I mean, this is really not um uh, this is really a mute thing, but they're saying they're going to cut all funding to the United Nations Population Fund, which deals with the notion of giving people an abortion, and they talk about forced sterilization. That's rich. And I would have to look more into that. I'm not sure if they are doing forced sterilization at all. There's a history of forced sterilization even in this country, so I would have to look into that. Stop federal funding of fetal tissue research. This is a really touchy topic because this is your stem cell research. So those of you who are interested in evaluating cancer, I don't know what to tell you. Um, so I mean, a lot of this is rich. Led a coalition to sign the Geneva. They want to lead a coalition of countries to sign a Geneva Consensus Declaration, declaring that there is no international right to abortion and committing to protecting women's health. I would love for the grammar to be correct, but that's a bit much. So, anywho, with that being said, this was supposed to take place at 5 p.m. It did not. And the reason it did not happen um, is because we had another thing that took place. I'm trying to find it here. Um, Okay, what happened is that the judge blocked um blocked it. But the order only, it was Judge Lauren Alicon who says that any open grants, okay, any open grants must be paid. It does not, I mean, there's going to be another argument that deals with, there's going to be another court case that deals with this, but they are going to be able, anyone who has an open grant, they're supposed to be getting paid. They're absolutely supposed to be getting paid. And they do want, because their argument, especially like NGOs, because they're going to get hit hard, their argument is that they're facing payroll, rent payments, and they're depending on these services and they need some certainty. So, they will be going to reevaluate, they're going to be looking at this, but there is a temporary stay on this order. So there is a temporary block, and they will be moving forward to evaluate this argument later in order to see if this is legal. Um, so at the moment, it's a stay on any open grants, and that's it. It doesn't say that the rest of the hold can't be reevaluated or can't be enforced. The biggie though are all the countries that are depending on federal aid from us. That's gonna suck. And the biggest is Ukraine. That being said, have a good day.